Hello everyone and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have my exploding heart here on my sewing machine table. I'm trying to bind it, or I'm about to start trying to bind it. I've got my binding pressed here, and I just realized what I did. I put the front of my quilt on top instead of the underneath. How I do my binding is I sew it to the back side first, and then I flip it over. And when I flip it over, I'll sew it down that way. So we are just going to get started. I start at least 12 inches from the corner, and I leave about 6 to 12 inches. But what I'm going to do is just lay this down. We are going to chit chat, and I'm probably going to have to move my foot or something around here. I have my binding just hanging down here behind me. So my goal is to try to get this sewn on. We're doing 1/4 of an inch, and once again, y'all know I have trouble doing this with a big quilt because my table's not big enough for me to do it. I may have to move my foot here. Okay, so now we're going to try to see if we can get this going. Tried to recenter y'all there a little bit. It looked like y'all were seeing all this side and none of this. So I've got that needle down, and we are going to just try to slowly get this bind put on the quilt. Since my quilt is so large, I do have to go really slow, and my quilt's going to be bumping on my tripod, so y'all just gonna have to bear with me today. So I try to keep it from the weight pulling on it. That's why I go slow and I take my time with it, so it's not pulling, and I'm not stretching my binding either. But guys, I hope y'all have been having a really great day. It's nice and warm here today. When I came in, I checked my little garden. I got me some strawberries, and I thought my blackberries were done, but apparently not. I got some blackberries out of it too. Only got 2, but there's no more blackberries on there, so I know there's not going to be any more come off of it. Just enough for when I go out to the garden, I can have some fresh snacking. And I don't worry about anything being on my plants. I mean, eating blackberries on the side of the road where I grew up, we had blackberries that grew on fence rows on the side of the ditch. And I can't tell you how many times, I can't count them on my hands and my toes 10 times over for sure, that we went out and just picked blackberries off them vines and ate them right there. And we're still here. So I don't worry about doing that when I pick something, because where my blackberry bush is, it's not going to have any type of pesticide or anything put on it. I'm trying to get my binding up here because it's over here off where I pressed it, and I'm going to put it on this tote under my sewing machine so I'm not rolling on it. But yeah, our sew along with Kristen with I See Stars Quilting is coming close to an end. I have to get my Okay, see, this is what I have trouble with. This is so heavy that it's pulling down here. So I have to try to get it all up there. I have to get this done today if I want a completed quilt to photo. But trying to keep that where you can see. But once I complete this, I will do photos of it so I can submit them. So y'all may not be able to see because I've got to try to keep it from pulling this, because it's pulling my quilt from under my binding, or I mean off that 1/4 of an inch. It's not pulling the quilt from the binding and the quilt I'm holding together, but that 1/4 of an inch, I can't seem to keep it on there when it's pulling. But y'all, this is beautiful. I've showed a picture of it in my updates of the back, how it was stitched in the back. It's so pretty. It's the light pink with the black thread, so it stands out really nicely. It's a good contrast there. And I'd like to thank everyone that's left me a comment about the blue fabric, or that I have that I was going to put with that. I'm not using that on my carnival. What I'm going to do is go ahead and use the fabric that was in their last clue that we got. And because it's a light peachy color, because that is one of the fabrics that's in the quilt, so that'll be fine. I'm not used to doing a light border. I've always done a brighter border that's given contrast. But hey, I'll use it. That's what came with the thing, so I'll go in and use that. Because I didn't change the size of the quilt at all. I didn't add borders or anything to it. It's just going to be your like 4 foot by 5 foot quilt lap through. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is measure out a 1/4 of an inch. Let me get my 1/4 here. And I am going to put a pin at a 1/4 of an inch, because that's where I have to stop. Because that is where I will rotate. I need one more stitch. Okay. But what I'm doing here is creating a mitered edge. I've seen people do these a lot of different ways, and this is just easier for me to do it this way. I feel like I get better results out of it. And you go back down a 1/4 of an inch. Right there. And then you start sewing your border on that side. Okay. And I've got quilt falling all over here, and I've got threads everywhere too, so I'm just hoping I got it trimmed close enough that when I fold over, it covers the batting, because I did leave some additional batting to make my binding a little bigger, but I didn't want the binding to go on the quilt that much. So I have the batting, and it'll fill out my binding as well, because the pattern on the quilt literally only has 1/4 of an inch. Well, I'm using a 2.5 inch. And if all I do is that 1/4 of an inch, when I fold it over, I only have 1/4 of an inch binding on the back, and then I have like 1.5, 1.75 inches on the front. And I don't like that because I don't want it to take up the design space. Now, there may be a better way to do that, but that's just the way that I've calculated it in my head to do. It's probably an easier way to do it. And if there is, please let me know, because I don't want to bind up over my design. Because I'm learning as I go. And this is the way that I watch video after video after video after video on binding. And a lot of them use this way, and it looked nicer to me this way. So this is the way I kind of chose to do it. And I'm hoping I'm catching all of my batting on the other side, which I'm catching the fabric on this side. So I trimmed my fabric so my fabric's the same as my batting. So, and guys, I know it's dark. It's because I'm positioned in a different location and my light's further over this way. You can see how bright it is there. Seeing if I could change that around some, but it don't look like I can because it glares in my picture back here. But I'm still learning the ins and outs of the quilting, binding. You know, I don't want my pattern to disappear, and most stuff only has that 1/4 of an inch that it kind of allows for, you know, binding or whatever you're doing. Sewing a seam or whatever. And all I'm doing here is I just put the edges of the binding to the edge of the trimmed quilt. Now, some people may not trim, but I have yet to have a quilt turn out perfectly square. I keep adjusting, y'all, trying to get the lighting better, but I got the sunlight coming in this window back here, which makes my camera dim, but you can hear the sewing machine. So if nothing else, you can hear what's going on. But I am so excited to have this completed. My custom-made label has not come in yet. And once it does come in, I'm still not going to show it because this is a gift for someone. And it's going to have her name on it. So I don't want to put it on there in case she watches this. And I definitely want this to be a sturdy quilt because I know she's going to have to wash it a lot. I know she's going to. I was wondering why it was pulling. It's because it's falling off the table on that side. We're almost done with side 2. And I don't know if you can see or not, but I have my ladder right here. It's got my Old Glory wall hanging there. I haven't got a place to hang it yet. And then it's got my Starly right below it. And after this one is done, this one I'll hang over there until time for me to give it as a gift, which is going to be a few months, but it will be done. Oh, my nose itching. Okay, once again, I have to mark my 1/4 of an inch. I'll throw a pin in that, just so I know not to go past that. Going to go on and release that. And I forget when I do that, it throws that extra stitch in there. I'm going to turn my quilt here. What I have to do is get my bind turned and folded down. I make sure it's even at the top and even on the edge. Let me get it under the needle and get that needle down in it, about a 1/4 of an inch from the top. Put that needle down in it. Okay. Let me roll this up under here so it's not falling. It's going to, and I know it. It's just a heavy quilt. But cut the string. I don't need that string way long there for me to have to remember to trim off later. Guys, this may be a short video because all I'm doing is binding. I put my binding together last night. I already had it cut down, but I put it together pretty late last night after I had worked in my garden a little more. I came in and took a shower, put my house gown on, so I wasn't going to record that. Y'all don't want to see that, so I just came in and sewed the binding strips together and got it ready for today. I was tired yesterday. Oh, I was tired yesterday. I'm a little tired today too, but that's just how it is when you work and you come in and then you work in the garden. And right now I'm having to tend to some outside dogs, which I don't like doing. It's not that I don't like dogs. These are just big dogs, and I'm scared they're gonna jump on me to play, and it's just me here, and I'm afraid I'd get hurt. And I'd be out there, wouldn't have my cell phone or something on me, and I don't want that to happen. And the only reason I'm having to do it is because my husband is having to work a shutdown right now. And his time has been extended until, I think he said he thought he might get to come in Saturday. But I don't know. Okay, I think my quilt's getting too heavy for the machine to pull it on through, so I've got to get it up here in my lap. And when I have to get in my lap, I have to make sure to manage that over there for sure. But we're going to see how quick we can get this done tonight. And I'll be happy to get this done because that means I can start another one. And I've got a couple that I told y'all about on Monday, but I'm not real sure which ones I'm going to start yet. I want one that I can kind of come in and just work at my leisure, kind of like the pretty points that I have over here, but that one there's got me stumped, so I still kind of don't have the want to with that one. So, but kind of what I'm trying to do is knock out some of my scraps because my bucket's getting too full. So I do need to work on some of my scraps. And what I may try to do is just make squares of light colors and not necessarily have them all for the same quilt, but just make squares, and then when I'm done, pull the squares that kind of coordinate together, that say like if I have one that's got a lot of pinks and flowers and things like that, I can put those together. Okay, we're almost done with our third side. So excited, y'all. I still have to flip it and sew it down, so we still have that. So we still may have a good hour because we've been at this about 30 minutes right now. We'll probably have about an hour and a half. I'm not real sure because I may have to trim some batting when I'm sewing it on the front, just to make it where it's not too thick, you know. I don't know what I'm saying. Just to make it where my bind will turn and match up, so it's not too much batting, so I can still stitch into the quilt top itself and not the batting. So now I've got to turn my quilts again, and this will be our last side before we connect it back up. And I will tell y'all, connecting back up has always been a problem for me, so I will have to think about it. That's the thing about binding. You have to think about what you're doing and how you're doing it, just to make sure it all works right. So let me put that needle down in that, get a couple stitches in there. And when I get done with this side and I turn to go to the other side, I will mark it where I need to stop sewing so I can connect my binding. Oh, this is getting a little heavy over here. I've got it all twisted up down here. But I think this pink is going to be the perfect binding. Because I don't know if you can see that. It does contrast, but the light pink in it matches. So I'm loving this. One day I'm going to be able to retire and work in a sewing shop, and where I can sew. And hopefully I'll have enough knowledge about it by then, because I can't retire for about another 10 years, I think. I can't get into my portal to find out. So, but it's okay. I like my job well enough to not worry about retirement right now. But wouldn't that be fun to work at a sewing shop where in slow times you can sew. Oh goodness, that would be so much fun. Or all the classes they have, maybe you could help in a class, or oh, that's just fun. Yes, and you're probably going to hear a cat because I have one that she's not happy with the others because they won't play with her, but she plays too rough. She's still the kitten. She plays very, very rough. And they don't like to play with her. They like to go outside to get away from her. And yeah, if I'm not talking, I may just speed you through this. As always, like I always do, I may just speed you through this. And also, like always, anything that I use to make my projects, I will have a link in the description. If you're interested in it, you can always click through that link. It is an Amazon link. I am an Amazon affiliate. I may earn a small commission if you buy something, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. But as always, visit your local quilt shops first. If you're in a location where you don't have any and you have to order online, there are links for those items. Oh, and talking about ordering online, y'all know my favorite quilt shop, Stitched in Faith. They are still trying to get online. They're not online yet for sales. They do have a website, but there's still a few things that they have to do to get it there. I think they're trying to get used to the system because it is so different than what they've done in the past. But I did ask about it and was told that they're thinking possibly mid-June. So we're hoping, but I will let y'all know when they go online, you know, for sales. So y'all could check them out too. Great little quilt shop in Mangum, Louisiana. I'm going to tell y'all, I love that little place. I love the fabrics. I love all of it. Okay, so here I need to mark. I think I'm going to stop right here. Give myself enough room. Is that enough room? No, that ain't enough room. Give myself enough room to piece together the binding. Get on that 1/4 of an inch line there. Get that needle down in there. Get a couple stitches in it, so I can straighten my quilt out here. Guys, that's what he does when I have my head turned. He likes to get on the quilts. So, I was just making sure I have everything ready and just double checking my steps. Because what I do is I sew. I don't do the tuck method on the binding at the end. I know a lot of people do that, but I don't do it. And we're going to have a problem right here because I have one seam where 2 strips come together, and I'm about to do another one. So I will show you kind of the trick that I followed. Now, I'm not the first one to use this. I found this on YouTube, and I find every time I have used this, it has worked. So what we are going to do, and I will have to pull my iron over here, but let me trim down. I'm going to trim this down. I don't want to trim it too far. I'm going to trim it back here. So we have a good piece. This will go good on that string quilt. See, that's why I like having binding that's a little too much. So the first thing we're going to do is find the center of where these two connect. I know you can't see me, but just know that's what I'm doing. And let's see. Center is going to be right about here. So what I do is I take my strip there and I fold it back. It don't have to be the center. It just makes it easier for it to be the center. Let's see if my iron is not going to reach that far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this piece right here, and then I will take this piece in about 1/8 of an inch from the piece that I'm pressing. I'm going to fold it to where I have a gap of like 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to press that as well. I'm going to go ahead, and now we're not going to trim this until we have checked it. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down real good. I'm going to pin it. Just put a pin in it so I don't lose it. Don't lose where I'm wanting to press. Oh, yeah. When I'm moving it. Okay, so you'll see here the two that I have pressed together. What I did, I created an X on each piece. Now, y'all, these are magic pins. They are heat resistant. And I actually had somebody ask about those. They are heat resistant. I just don't leave the iron on it too long. I don't know if you can see there, it created an X right there. So what we are going to do is I have my mark here. I'm going to take this and open it up and lay it over just straight over here. And then I'm going to take this piece and open it up and match it here. So I have to keep my crosses together. Keep your plus signs together there. I'm going to go and take this pin out. See if I can do this without a pin. That's going to be fun. Now what I have to do is I have to get this turned to where I can sew it that straight line. And y'all know me, I always have to mark because I'm not real sure about these straight lines. But I'm doing my best there. I hope I didn't get off. That thread cutter is really bothering me. Okay. So now what we do, looks like it come together. Let's check it out and see. Take that pin out, stretch it out. Now I'm not trimming until I know for sure, does this work? Perfect. Look at there, guys. It matches perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little cutting mat here, and let me make sure I'm cutting the right location. You don't want to cut the wrong side. That would be horrible. But I've got my little ruler here that helps me get that 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off Oh, somehow I don't guess I pressed hard enough. Yep, there we go. Okay, let me get my little rotating mat out of the way. So guys, y'all see how that just went so nice. Now, I could press that seam open, but I think what I'm going to do is just fold that and finger press it open. I have done this so many times, but for some reason it's not wanting to cooperate today. Okay, I think I got it there. So now what I do is I just put my needle back down. I'm going to go back a little bit further, just to kind of add that extra stability on the stitching where it comes together. And y'all, you probably can't see this, but I have not cut any of the dog ears off where I put my binding strips together. I just don't normally do that because it's not going to hurt it being inside of the binding. And y'all, I think Kristen with I See Stars Quilting, I think she has a video on how to bind also out there. I don't know if that's a for member thing only. I haven't looked to see. I am a member of her thing because I've done retreat and sew alongs. So I guess technically I'm not a member, but I am a member. Okay. This thing is going to upset me here. But I have seen, I've watched one of them. I haven't watched all of them. I need to watch all of them. Guys, we're at an hour now of sewing, and I am about to start folding this over. And I want it to be more than... So, okay. First thing I need to do is flip the quilt. And I know everybody normally pins and all that. I don't. Is that bad? Y'all let me know. Is that bad that I don't pin? But what I'm trying to do is just fold over, and I'm using Dove Gray, so it's going to blend in with my binding and my backing if my thing isn't perfect. So I guess I could put some clips in, couldn't I? Maybe that'll help. Which I don't really worry about it too much. Let me get that needle. Okay, the foot that I use all the time is the 1/8 and 1/4 inch foot. This is a Bernina foot. What I do is I line up the edge of my binding to the inside edge of the foot. And I only do a little bit at a time because since I don't clip, I used to clip, but what was happening with my quilts hanging down like this, I was popping more clips off than was staying on the quilt. So I just quit doing that because it wasn't helping me to do that. So instead, I just take my time and I mean, what else am I going to do? Clean house? No. I need to clean house. And if any of y'all watch my cooking channel, I am not going to have a video released this week. I normally cook on the weekends and release, I record for that channel on the weekends. And y'all know this past weekend I've had my grandbabies, so I didn't get anything recorded. I didn't even do any meal prep for this week, so there's not a video this week. I'm sorry. And I probably am only going to do one video a week on that, unless I can finally get it back to where I have one day to record cooking videos for y'all. But here lately, I haven't had that time. I've been very, very busy. But I need to make that a priority, because I'm only recording my meal prep. That's what I eat for the week. When I put a recording out there on my cooking channel. And if I don't have a video out there, that means that I didn't meal prep at all. So I've got to do some meal preps for breakfast. I've got to do meal preps for everything. But used to, when I first started doing it, I would take one day to clean house and do meal prep. Because when you meal prep, you have to wash dishes. So that's part of cleaning house to me. And that's just not happening right now. Neither one of them is happening right now. Because when I have grandbabies, I ain't cleaning house. Unless they're napping and I got that moment. But that's normally folding clothes or something like that don't create a noise. Because I know my grandson, my daughter has told me he doesn't like the vacuum noise. He doesn't like that loud vacuum noise. And I don't know what we're going to do about that. He needs to get used to that vacuum noise. When my children were babies, they could sleep through the vacuum noise. We used to do like fire drills. And my oldest daughter would sleep right through it. And we'd never tell them that's what we were doing. We were just seeing how fast they could get out of the house if it ever caught on fire. She never succeeded. I'm not going to say the word, but she never made it out of the house. She slept right through it, which is kind of scary. Well, yeah, we are an hour and 33 minutes in right now. And I am almost done. I'm on, I have less than a whole row, because I have less than half of this row and then the start of the next row. Before I am completed. And I wanted to remind everybody, there is a giveaway out there. I will have the video linked at the end here, because I don't know how to link videos in the video. So I will link it at the end. It'll be a suggested video or something like that for you to check out. It is going to have the clue word in it. And you know what to do with clue words. You put them in the comments. And, yeah, once you put it in the comments, what will happen is I will do a random drawing. I was thinking next to the last weekend, but I think I'm just going to go on and let it run the rest of May, and then do the drawing on like June 1st, maybe. That'll be easier to remember. So your comment with the clue word has to be submitted by midnight the last day of May, because when I get up on June, and it does tell me when I do the the comment picker thing, it does tell me when the comment was left, and if it was after midnight, it won't qualify. So go on and watch that video. Get your comment in. And we are just about done. We are on the stretch to get it done. Just about there. We're just about back to where we started it. I may try to tuck that up at the top corner, and I always try to get my binding to match on the front and the back, and it never does. The back is always a little bitty piece and the front's always the big piece. I wish I could get it the same so it looks uniform on both sides. But that'll come with experience and doing it. I will figure it out eventually. But anyway, go on and get your clue word in on that video, because that will be the only video I pull the clue word from. And the drawing will be June 1st. And I'm going to let y'all know this, it is not a huge box, but the box is full. There will be some items out of the box that Amy gave me. She gave me enough to have several giveaways. So here I am attaching all of this down. We're just about back at our starting point. See what we got done here. This looks beautiful, y'all. Look at this. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to have to stitch that because I'm just going to go on and do a stitch from mine. So guys, I have completed my exploding heart. I have to find where the top is. I think this is the top. It has the pink binding on it here. I will see if I can get a picture of it to put at the end of the video for you guys. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, please do feel free to become part of our family. I do a lot of sewing. I have another channel that I do cooking and gardening on. I'm not a gardener. I like to plant stuff and wish upon a star, and hopefully it grows. I'd like to do things like that. So just join me, become part of the family here on YouTube. Leave a comment, tell me what you think. Go check out that other video and get your clue word so you can get into the drawing. The rules are down in the description. You do need to be a public subscriber. I do have, in one of the videos in the comments, someone asked about how to tell if they were a subscriber, and I put it in there. You may have to check that in the comments. There is a way to do it down in the description, but I think that's only on the computer, not on the app. But guys, thank you so much for joining me today. And as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.